Good evening. This is Akashwani. I am VC Pramod with the news at 9. The headlines. Government calls for special session of Parliament from 18th to 22nd of September. Country's GDP growth rises to 7.8% in April to June quarter. Manufacturing posts growth of 4.7% in the same quarter. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India has demonstrated its capabilities in economic, technological and digital sectors while laying emphasis on democratic values. In South Africa, over 70 people killed in fire tragedy at a multi-storey building in Johannesburg. And in US Open, Aryna Sabalenka, Markéta, Vondroušová and Jannik to be seen in action in singles second round matches tonight. A special session of Parliament has been convened from the 18th to the 22nd of next month. The session will have 5 sittings. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi today informed this through a social media post. He said amid Amrit Kal, the government is looking forward to having fruitful discussions and debates in Parliament. Earlier, the monsoon session of Parliament, which began on the 20th of July, had concluded on the 11th of August. Parliament approved 23 bills in the session, including the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill and the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill. India's gross domestic product GDP registered a growth of 7.8% in the April-June quarter of the current fiscal 2023-24 compared to a growth of 6.1% in the previous January-March quarter of fiscal 2022-23. According to official data shared by the National Statistical Office, the country's real GDP came in line with economists' estimate of 7.7 to 8.5%. Manufacturing posted a growth of 4.7% in the April-June quarter. Agricultural sector registered a growth of 3.5%, while the services sector grew at 9.2%. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur said India's GDP growth is yet another milestone in the country's unstoppable economic growth. In a social media post, Mr. Thakur said India is bound to progress under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with nation in heart and mission in mind. He added that inspired by the philosophy of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, the government reshaped economic policies to make them result-oriented and to serve the larger interest of society. The minister said production-linked incentive schemes and UPI were introduced and schemes like Make in India, Startup India and Mudra Yojana were launched to encourage entrepreneurship at the micro level. He added that initiatives were taken to harness the skills of women to engage them in economic activities, and all these proved key driving forces of growth. Mr. Thakur said the GDP is not just an indicator of the growth of the country only, but it explains all about India's swift march from a fragile 5 to top 5 economy. He pointed out that when the opposition indulged in negative politics, the Modi government was quietly working for the growth of the country and its people. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said India assumed the presidency of G20 at a time when the country is recognized at the global level for its economic achievements, technological and digital advancement and talent pool. Addressing an event on G20 presidency and its global impact in New Delhi today, he added that the country has demonstrated its capabilities in these sectors while laying emphasis on democratic values. The minister said this puts India in a special position and the world has big expectations from the country.
When you say that in G20, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, when we say one earth, one family, one future, the world believes us. They do not think this is an empty slogan made for a conference. They actually have seen in the behavior of India in the most difficult times, when there were countries who had stockpiled 5-6 times the number of people, they had stockpiled that many doses of vaccine. They would not give it to a small neighbor next to them. And people saw that there was a different country.
Talking about the success of Chandrayaan-3 mission, Dr. Jaishankar said it has inspired the world. As the national capital is bracing itself for the upcoming G20 summit on the 9th and 10th of next month, hospitals under the central government and Delhi government have made elaborative arrangements to handle any medical emergencies. More from our correspondent.
In preparation for the G20 summit, the government has established special helplines, dedicated medical facilities and clear paths for patient movement. Safdarjung Hospital now has a designated helpline for emergencies and serves as the main hospital for handling chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear CBRN defense situations. Sources said arrangements for providing treatment and other facilities have been made at AIIMS and RML Hospital. AIIMS will have reserved ICU beds for CBRN incidents, while RML Hospital has VIP rooms with beds and ICU facilities. Besides, medical team and 50 ambulances will be stationed at the G20 summit venue at Pragati Maidan and at the hotels of the foreign delegates. ICU facilities will also be set up at the summit venue. At Loknayak Hospital, 24 beds have been reserved for G20 delegates who may require aid. Debabrata Datta, Akashvani News, Delhi.
The tour of Rashtrapati Bhavan for the general public will remain closed from tomorrow till the 10th of next month. The decision was taken in view of preparatory work related to the upcoming G20 summit on the 9th and 10th of next month in New Delhi. Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs Hardeep Singh Puri has said that the government is focusing a lot on technology implementation in urban and other development projects. Addressing a press conference in New Delhi today, Mr. Puri said the government is coming up with a plan for last-mile connectivity and is going to introduce 10,000 e-buses for better interconnectivity across the country with a population range of 3 lakh to 40 lakh. He also said that the government has achieved the milestones in providing houses to every citizen under PM Awas Yojana. On the occasion, Mr. Puri released an e-book version of projects completed by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs from 2014 to 2023. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated country scientists and engineers today as the first largest indigenous 700 megawatt Kakrapar nuclear power plant Unit 3 in Gujarat began operations at full capacity. In a social media post, Mr. Modi termed it as another milestone achieved by India. Labour and Employment Minister Bhupender Yadav today launched chemotherapy services in 30 ESIC hospitals across the country during the 191st meeting of the ESI Corporation at the ESI headquarters in New Delhi. Mr. Yadav said the launch is a step in the direction of realizing Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of all-round welfare of the nation's Shram Yogis in India's Amrit Kal. He added that with the start of in-house chemotherapy services, insured workers and their dependents will be able to get better cancer treatment with ease. This is Akashvani giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. President Draupadi Murmu has urged people to develop their inner strength, keep doing positive work and stay with positive thoughts and good company. The President graced the state-level launch of the theme The Year of Positive Change of Brahma Kumaris at Raipur, the capital of Chhattisgarh today. Speaking on the occasion, she advised to be in the company of such people who inspire to follow the right path.
एक बात में हर बच्चे, युवा और बुजुर्ग को कहना चाहती हूँ कि अपनी आंतरिक शक्ति के विकास के लिए अपनी रुचि के अनुसार सकारात्मक कार्य करते रहिए और सदा पॉजिटिव थॉट्स और गुड कंपनी के साथ रहिए। ऐसे लोगों के बीच में रहिए जो आपको सही रास्ता पर चलने की प्रेरणा दे सके और आगे बढ़ने में आपका साथ भी दे। जीवन को सही ढंग से जिए तो हर पल खूबसूरत और यादगार बना सके।
The President will attend the 10th convocation ceremony of Guru Ghasidas Central University in Bilaspur tomorrow. She will also interact with the members of particularly vulnerable tribal groups of Chhattisgarh at Raj Bhavan in Raipur tomorrow. Through strengthened collaboration and effective migration governance, the Governance of Labour Migration in South and Southeast Asia Goals project is aiming to ensure safe, orderly and regular labour migration for all women and men from Colombo Process member states. In an exclusive interview to Akashvani News, Satoshi Sasaki, officer in charge ILO Decent Work Team for South Asia and Country Office India, shared the details of how International Labour Organization ILO is planning to draft criteria to protect exploitation of labour.
The G20 labor ministers meeting this time focused on the skills for the mapping. That's one thing. And another very important issue for the migrant workers is the portability of the social security. Yeah, because they are working outside the country, as to how at the time they have a sickness, how the medical the payment can be covered. These are still yet to be completing. So I think there's still a little bit long way to go. But now the G20 labor ministers for the meetings for the discussing as to how extend the workers the working abroad can be covered by the different the social security. And these social security the systems, the schemes can be portable in the sense that it can be applicable in different countries.
Tune into 100.1 Gold Channel and additional frequencies of Akashvani News at 9:15 tonight to listen to this exclusive broadcast. In South Africa, over 70 people have been killed and 50 others injured after a fire broke out in a 5-story building in central Johannesburg this morning. Among those killed were 7 children. According to South Africa's public broadcaster SABC, emergency services were swiftly mobilized, with firefighters currently engaged in efforts to extinguish the raging blaze. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on Thursday appointed Grant Shapps as the new Defence Minister. The development comes after former Defence Secretary Ben Wallace resigned due to personal reasons. Shapps has previously served as Transport Secretary, Energy Secretary and Home Secretary. At the stock markets, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange lost 256 points or 0.4% to end at 64,831 today. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange fell 94 points or 0.5% to 19,254. Indian Met Department today said monthly rainfall for September over the country as a whole is most likely to be normal. Met Department has forecast normal to above normal rainfall over many areas of northeast India, adjoining East India, foothills of the Himalayas and some areas of East Central and South Peninsular India. Below normal rainfall is most likely over most areas of the remaining parts of the country. Above normal maximum temperatures are likely over most parts of the country in September, except over some areas in South Peninsular India and some pockets of West Central India, where normal to below normal maximum temperatures are likely. Above normal minimum temperatures are likely over most parts of the country, except for some areas in the extreme north. India, where normal to below normal minimum temperatures are likely. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today met chess grandmaster R. Pragyananda at his official residence in New Delhi. In a social media post, Mr. Modi expressed delight at meeting him along with his family. He said Pragyananda personifies passion and perseverance, and his example shows how India's youth can conquer any domain. In US Open tennis, Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus, Czech player Markéta Vondroušová and Aryna Sabalenka of Ukraine will be seen in action in the women's singles round matches tonight. Danish player Caroline Wozniacki cruised to the third round of women's singles, defeating Petra Kvitova of Czechia. Earlier, world number 1 and defending champion Iga Swiatek of Poland also advanced to the third round, defeating Australia's Daria Saville. In another match, Coco Gauff of United States entered the next round, defeating Russia's Mira Andreeva. In men's singles, Italian player Jannik Andy Murray of Britain and Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov will play their second round matches tonight. India's Rohan Bopanna and his Australian partner Matthew Ebden sailed into the second round of the men's doubles category. Today is World Sanskrit Day. On the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded all those who are passionate about Sanskrit. In a social media post, the Prime Minister said that India has a very special relationship with Sanskrit. He urged people to celebrate this great language and share at least one sentence in Sanskrit. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Government calls for special session of Parliament from 18th to 22nd of September. Country's GDP growth rises to 7.8% in April to June quarter. Manufacturing posts growth of 4.7% in same quarter. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India has demonstrated its capabilities in economic, technological and digital sectors while laying emphasis on democratic values. In South Africa, over 70 people killed in fire tragedy at a multi-story building in Johannesburg. And in US Open, Aryna Sabalenka, Markéta Vondroušová and Jannik to be seen in action in singles second round matches tonight. And that's all in the news at 9. Good night.
This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight